Hello everyone, Andy here from the #1 Kill Team channel on YouTube. Don't check that, just trust me. In today's video, I want to prove to you how much I hate hobby by doing a fifth less than I actually need to. Why make 5 models when you can make 1? That's right, I'm giving you a list of every marine-like model you need to build to have the fewest number of models that can proxy as the most number of models. Which of course means I also need to explain rules for effectively proxying models, which is just good hobby content that everyone needs to know so they can help themselves help their opponents. That sentence makes sense, I'm probably. So, okay, a bare minimum team for Phobos, Intercession, Warp Coven, Legionary, Night Lords, Angels of Death, and the upcoming Plague Marines is 36 models. We assume about the Plague Marines, we're guessing a little bit there, but we can see the models, right? Now, a full roster would be closing in on 60 models. And if you go nuts and model each Legionary model with a separate mark of chaos, then you've just broken 100 models easy. Well done, congrats on breaking them. Who should you look to make efficient proxies to bring that number down? Someone that views painting as literal torture. A true hobby hater. Welcome to Glass Half Dead. Enter Glass Half Dead, stage left. Okay, the only front page of Warcom featured guy that hates painting. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, like, really though, it does suck. I'm not gonna harp on, I'm done, but I don't like it. Additionally, as we now have rolling teams going to Legends or becoming unclassified, if you're a Phobos player, why make a team that leaves tournament legality in a year when you can make those same models last for the next 4 years as Angels of Death and Plague Marines continue to live on? Now, before we get to the proxy rules, the #1 most important law, L-A-W, law, is we're all just here to have fun, okay? All of this hobby thing is expensive in terms of our time. So create the models you are happy with, not the models you feel you're supposed to have due to other people or corporations telling you what to do, right? Your model should be cool to you. But before we get into the list and general proxy rules and examples, I'd first like to give a subscriber-only benefit, and that is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome. Truly the wholesomeness knows no bounds. If you want that in the next video, it is a subscriber-only benefit, so just like, subscribe, and leave a comment. For this video, the comment can be, what do you want to do your Marines as? Loyalist? Heretics? Miscellaneous? Other? I don't know, something. Also, of course, before we crack on with this celebration of homogenous enough teams that they can all be baked into one, did you know I have a Patreon in which you can support the channel and would be very much appreciated if you fancy dropping a tip my way. Additionally, with the new edition kicking off, it's time to get your orders in for new gubbins, widgets, and booleans. So I want to show you a few things from Crossfire Games, which you can check their store out on Etsy, and if you want 5% off, use the code GlassHalfDead24. First up, we have a deck box to hold your approved ops. No longer do you have to take out all of your stuff. That is going to tickle some people. However, the thing that really gets me going has to be this essentials box, because you've got a score tracker on top. It's obviously, it all comes pre-magnetized, by the way. You've got objective markers that slot very nicely in there that show your 1-inch control range. It's mandatory for the game. Then you also get 5 of these equipment token control range markers as well, which is great if you're throwing down a smoke or if you're dropping a Phobos mine or whatever you're doing, you're gonna need one of those, or trying to collect one of your TAC-op objectives as well. Then you have a whole bunch of cool stuff. So he also does this equipment. The real winner, this is the actual thing that gets me going. It's a token caddy, because no longer am I emptying a small plastic baggie filled with tokens. I put this out and I'm ready to go. Go check it out on Etsy. Links are in the pinned comment. And if you put in the coupon code GlassHalfDead24, you'll get 5% off. When looking to create a multi-team proxy, there are 3 things to keep in mind. First, base size must be correct. Second, you are proxying the weapon, not the model. In proxying WYSIWYG, the modeling rule of which what you see is what you get, is bizarrely more important than using the official model. Convert it into the spirit of the weapon. Thirdly, all sins are forgiven if your conversion is high effort and cool AF, as foretold. The key to a good proxy is readability. Let's say your team can only possibly have one heavy gunner on the board at a time. Well, it kind of doesn't matter if that model has a heavy bolter or a rocket launcher. It has the heavy weapon. Job done. But if you have a model with a pistol and knife versus a model with a gun and sword, you need to do more than the official model to tell those apart. Convert as you need, but the real trick here is in the paint job. Make them really stand out from each other so there's no way you can miss the difference in gun and sword. Oh yeah, okay, base sizes. Everything is on a 32mm base except for the Space Marine Captain, Phobos Eliminator and Heavy Intercessor Gunner from the Angels of Death. So does that mean you need to make 3 extra models just for them? If you want to, yes. Otherwise, do what I'll do and take them on their 32mm base and blue tack them to a 40mm base when you want to run them as the 40mm base model. As long as you keep readability in mind, you can't go too far wrong, and of course in friendly casual play, all you're trying to do is be helpful for your opponent, but if you want to take them to a tournament, run it by the TO first and see what they say. Most are very happy to accept cool looking proxy teams. First things first, for your guys, pick a theme. Loyalist or Heretic is the most commonly seen. Running Loyalist Legionaries or Heretic Angels of Death is very hype. Do it. Pick a chapter. Everyone is Blood Angels, or you want to make a Legionary Space Wolves or something. Me? Town. My bad. That's right, I'm doing Town Marines. They're sensible Marines, I guess. So I want everyone to be using Phobos armor as a base, but with a head swap and a janky shoulder pad and backpack swap and gun cutting. No dumb skulls on everything, I cut them off. I want these to be generic sci-fi models. The key for me is that the Marine aesthetic is literally just non-functional peripheral vision. As soon as you lower the shoulder pads and backpack, they lose that Marine vibe and become generic sci-fi troops, which is exactly what I'm after. The bases, I actually did buy some 3D printed bases that they look really cool, even better on, but I want these to be not Warhammer. Swapping to a funky base sets them further apart from Marines. Although I believe they look better on the regular bases. I'm pushing that otherness to make them truly my own. I actually suggest if you want to go for ultimate distinction on proxy models like this, to use colour to differentiate models. If all my infiltrators were blue and all my incursors were orange, no one would ever have any questions about what's what. But for this list, even though I'll be adding my own Tau Flair, the list of model types I need are still generic for all to use. There are some very safe picks that make sense to everyone, like for example the Butcher and the Skin Thief. Big weapon, that's all this is, and no one will care if it's a big chainsword, power axe, whatever, right? Big mad weapon. Because it will be the only model on the board with a big mad weapon. It distinguishes itself, and that's what Proxy cares about. Readability and distinctiveness. Nothing else on the board should have a big two-handed weapon. If you're doing this yourself, although Angels of Death are the default Marines, we don't really need to worry about them. If you build everything else for other teams, you'll just kind of end up with an Angels of Death team. So think of Legionary as your default and model list that you're trying to build to. We have some easy wins right off the bat, and that's our gunners. We need a missile launcher, heavy bolter, plasma and melter. And I guess a flamer if you really want, but meh. This covers us for 2 operatives in Legionary and Nemesis Claw, and a gunner in Intercession and Warp Coven. And depending on how you're feeling and the conversion you use, the marksman in Phobos too. So that's 1 model counting as 3 models, easy, a good start. Also, in general, the guns you're looking to proxy will just need to be something that shoots a lot of shots or shoots one big shot. A proxy for a heavy bolter or a Reaper chain cannon or a Soul Reaper cannon is the same, but a missile launcher or a melter is different. Proxy the weapon, not the model. Looking at my gunner models, I have 3, a rail rifle, a fusion gun and a burst cannon. So the burst cannon is the multi-firing model, which could be the heavy bolter or chain cannon, but it is also the gunner model that is standing up, whereas the other gunner models are crouched down. I personally would be happy to run the standing model as the heavy gunner and the crouching model as the regular gunner. Let's do another easy one. Butcher, Skin Thief, Assault Intercessor, Reaver, Sorcerer. Butcher and Skin Thief are one big weapon, but they do have a pistol even if not modelled on the default models. Assault Intercessor and Reaver are one-hand weapon and pistol. Sorcerer can be melee or melee and pistol, but the pistol would need to be modelled. For these, I want to stick with a two-handed weapon, even though the chainsword and combat blade aren't double-handed. This is because the Intercessor and Reaver can't be mistaken for anything else in Angels of Death or Phobos if given a double-handed weapon. But the Butcher and Skin Thief are in teams filled with melee, and so the double-handed nature of the weapon is their distinction. So just make sure the weapon is massive, that's the key. If you think a huge weapon held one-handed when wielding a pistol works, then do that. Just make sure it's the biggest weapon on the team. Once you've done 6 models for Legionary, you also have a Nemesis Claw team and an Angels of Death team. Hello everybody, Andy at the editing station here, the battle station if you will. You might have noticed that throughout this video I have mentioned Phobos and how some things can double as a Reaver, but then I haven't actually shown one. And I got to this point in the video and I remembered why that is. That's because I never made a Phobos team. Yeah, because the models sucked. So immediately I created them as a proxy team of Alpha Legionary. So that's what I'm about to show you, but everything I said is still correct. They do still count as Reavers, etc, etc. Enjoy. The problem comes with Phobos, where you really just need a bunch of guys with guns that look different from each other, but they still have guns. Because honestly, even the default team from GW, you can't tell who's who. But again, as I said, when you're breaking away from WYSIWYG, you have to be better than the official models. After completing your Legionary kit bash, we've managed to create a full Legionary and Nemesis Claw roster. We also have as many Assault Intercessors and Reavers as we will ever need. Plague Marines are currently a bit shaky on what exactly is known, but it looks like you've got that sorted too. Which makes sense. Legionary are basically all melee, so all melee options for all teams are ready. We then get to Phobos and the range side of things. Now of course you're a smart cookie, so you didn't just make 4 gunners without thinking, did you? No. Missile launcher, heavy bolter, plasma, melter. Those sound like ranged weapons to me. That means your Phobos should be done. Well, kind of. So it's a tough one, right? You know how we all made fun of Blades of Cain for not having specialists you could tell apart, but then it turned out that Blades of Cain actually didn't have any specialists? Well, Phobos has specialists that are all pretty different in what they do, but they look identical. It's the ultimate meme team, honestly. One of them's dabbing. What? So we need to take into account 2 things with each model. Infiltrator or Incursor. That needs to be made notably different on all of them. And then some unique aspect. Marksman is easy, he's the sniper. Mine Layer has the mine, and you never take the Mine Layer and Saboteur at the same time, so they're the same model. Except the Saboteur is an Infiltrator and the Mine Layer is an Incursor, so luckily the presence of a big AF mine takes precedence over a gun barrel, right? Medic and Comms unfortunately just have to be made. Voxbreaker, if you really want, he's better in the new edition. Now the Veteran could be one of the gunners you made, as he just has a more powerful gun, that's his thing. Depending on how you've made your banner guy, he could be a Comms. Otherwise, we're going to have to be a bit boring and just make the Medic, Comms and Veteran as separate models. Personally, I've never run the Medic and Comms at the same time, so they could be one model for me, but with a new edition, who knows what the team is now, really? Either way, all of these can be set up to be the regular intercessors for Angels of Death and rubrics for Warp Coven, which makes actually all teams are now complete. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and remember, we're all just here to have fun. All of this hobby thing is expensive in terms of our time, so create the models you are happy with, not the models you feel you're supposed to have. If you've made it to the end of the video, I would like to say a big triple hello as a thank you. Stay cool. Goodbye.